Hello, and welcome to my new series, in where we delve into the world of Skyrim through its many books. In this series, we shall read each book and talk about any significant details that are tied to said book. I hope you stay a while and listen. Dwarves, The Lost Race of Tamriel, Volume 1, Architecture and Designs by Carl Summo, Scholar of Markarth. Let me begin by correcting a common misconception. The proper term to use when referencing the ancient lost race of Tamriel is Dwemer. It is a word whose meaning is roughly translated to people of the deep in the common tongue, and whose use has been widely replaced by the more ubiquitous nomenclature Dwarves. I would like it stated that I use the name Dwarves in lieu of a more accurate term in these books out of a sympathy for my readership, whom I can assume safely does not have the breadth of scholarship that 200 years of study have given me. With that small point finished, let us begin our discussion on the Dwarves by focusing on the indisputable artifacts they have left behind, their architectural and cultural designs. Unlike the more controversial areas of Dwarven scholarship, the construction of Dwarven cities and relics are well founded due to the plethora of samples taken from the ruins that people have left behind. My own home city Markarth was originally one such ruin, and I can state from first-hand experience that all Dwarven designs share a set of common principles that we can use to determine true artifacts from fakes and delineate patterns and methodologies that were important to the craftsmen. First of all, we can say for certain that the Dwarf artisans favored stone, at least as far as their buildings were concerned. This is no surprise. With notable exceptions, the vast majority of Dwarven architecture is found underground or carved out of mountains. It is possible, although only theoretically, that the Dwarves first mastered masonry as a race quite early, and later examples of metalwork were added on to much earlier stone designs as the Dwarves began to master more and more complex tools. Regardless, the foundations of all known Dwarven ruins is built on stonework, and the structure of Dwarven stonemanship is sharp, angular, and intensely mathematical in nature. By some account, there are hundreds if not thousands of samples of Dwarven buildings made of precise square shapes and far fewer examples of discretely rounded or curved stonework, leading us to believe that the early Dwarves favored trusted, well-calculated designs based on angles and lines rather than riskier, more imprecise calculations based on arcs and curves. This comparatively simple tradition of stone cutting has nevertheless resulted in buildings that are structurally as sound today as they were thousands of years ago, making the works of our most skilled masons today seem like child's play in comparison. Metalwork, as far as we know, is the primary method used to make almost all Dwarven crafts. We cannot, however, discount more easily destructible materials such as clay, paper, and glass from outside scope of Dwarven craftsmanship. But given the tendency of Dwarven design to favor the long-lasting over the fragile, we can safely assume that at the very least, metal was a heavy preference, and the metal used in all so far discoverable Dwarven relics is entirely unique to their culture. No other race has replicated whatever process was used to create Dwarven metal, although it can easily be mistaken for bronze, and in fact many forgers of Dwarven materials use bronze to create their fake replicas. It is most definitely a distinct type of metal on its own. I have personally seen metallurgists attempt to combine several types of different steel, common, and rare ores in order to imitate Dwarven metal's exclusive properties, but the only method that has been successful is to melt down existing Dwarven metal scraps and start over from there. While there is nothing particularly notable to mention, at least within this book, one notable thing that I could mention is the Ethereum Forge and how they make metals there. Although it seems to have been made from an incredibly rare material, it is very highly hypothesized that Ethereum is actually some form of mana steel, some configuration between a soul gem and almost a steel-like substance, capable of rendering magic and other affinities useless in its presence, since it seems to draw in a huge amount of magicka whenever it is being utilized. This has led me to hypothesize that perhaps even in normal dwarven metal, they have actually utilized it there to forge their own ingots, and thus why no one has been able to properly recreate dwarven metal up until this point. And that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the book we have read today, and I hope to see you once again in my library. Or you can come by and see me as I play as a mage throughout the world of Tamriel, and we discover all of its intricacies. Until we meet again.